Yo guys, Theo here, Uncommon Sense. Welcome back to another episode of Human Beings, the podcast where we talk about life and everything, but we're very interested in people, individuals. So not just who they are today, but how they ended up that way. And so today I'm joined by a very special guest, my cousin Diana, who, she's gonna get to introduce herself a little bit, but the thing she's working with is speech and stuttering, and I would describe her today as a soul worker and a mother. Those are my main ways to describe you, but hello and welcome, Diana.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast.
Of course. So, is there anything you'd like to add to that introduction of yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I can add that I'm absolutely a soul worker now and a mother as well. But I see myself as me, like Diana.
Yes.
And I have always tried to figure out who I am during my life because my stutter has really been the thing that has controlled me. So I'm so happy to. I'm so happy that I can describe myself as Diana today, and being proud of that. Of course, I'm a mother as well, and a soul worker, and a very happy person, and so on.
Yeah, of course, and that's a great point for yourself. But when we introduce ourselves to other people, we need to have some titles, like I do this. This is what I'm about. But it's a great point. So it's a little silly that we're speaking in English because obviously we're both Swedish. But Diana does content of her own these days, also in English. And since her thing is a lot about speech, it's a great opportunity to just try practicing the English speaking even a little bit also. But please, I'm gonna want to go back to your childhood and it all started because that's an interesting thing about this episode. I was part of that as well. But tell us a little bit about you and what you're about today in all of this.
Absolutely. Today I'm 35 years old. I have 3 kids and I'm marriid. So that's one thing, but I'm the most important thing for me, I think, it's where I am right now with myself. And that is I'm working a lot on myself with soul work, as you mentioned, and I'm prioritizing myself in a whole different way than I have done before, and it really helps me to feel that I'm deserving to live the life that I always have dreamed of, and I can do that now when I'm prioritizing myself and feel that I'm worthy of being happy.
Yeah, of course. But so what I want to make clear, I guess, is that, I guess I said it, but Diana does content too, and she shares, the things she does, both externally, like I would call it, with actual technique for speaking, and also the internal process, things you've felt, and some of those things you said already just now. But I want to go back to the beginning now, and then we'll get back to the here and now more. But let me just say then that Diana is my older cousin. She's 3 years older than me, and I have a very small family, not many relatives, and so our families were very close when we were little, and the people thought we were siblings basically because we were quite alike, and we played, but we fought a lot too. But so for me in this, I was just always aware that Diana has a stutter. Like sometimes when she speaks, she kind of gets stuck, and to me it was just, Diana was always to me just my cool big cousin, that just so happens to have a stutter. I didn't think too much about it because it was never talked about. And then, of course, when we're adults and you started being more open about it, I realized it has been a huge thing for you, of course. then it was obvious, really. But yeah, I'd like you to tell, how was growing up with a stutter for you?
Very good question, and I'm talking a lot about this on my Instagram account now, Forever Stuttering, and it feels so nice to finally dare to being honest. And I just want to add, I forgot it,
Yeah,
and
sure.
be- because of my stutter, I'm using a speaking technique, so I will really try to exaggerate that now.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Please
thank
do.
you. Okay, so if we go back to my childhood, I started to stutter when I was 3 years old. I know because my mother has told me that. And I went to a lot of speaking therapists and so on, but the common thing for the speaking therapist that I been to when I was little, they only focusing on stuttering as a problem. It was how I understood it, and it was no talking about what stuttering was, and it's okay to stutter, and everyone talking in their own way, and it's okay to be different and so on. So it was focusing on curing the stutter, which just made me more sure that stuttering was something wrong, was something awful, that it was my responsibility to not stutter. And my parents, they didn't get any support from speech therapists, from doctors and so on, how they should approach me. So they just didn't talk about it with me as well. So it made me even more sure that the stuttering was something really bad, that we can't talk about it, and it's just my responsibility to hide it. So it was how I grew up, and I felt like that until I was like 25. So it's really sad, actually.
I want to ask more about that, but I can relate to it a lot. That, you know, I officially have ADHD. I don't care so much about that now, but like I basically started having problems in school at a certain point, right? And I never felt either like, oh, Theo's troubled, like let's check how he feels, like let's see how we can help Theo here. It always felt more like, oh, the problem we're here to discuss, well, that's you pretty much, and how we can, you just feel like those things when it's not clear that this is to help you and we care about you and you have a struggle, but it's okay, you know. I think especially as a kid, you just end up feeling like something is wrong with me and I need to be fixed or something like that, right? And what was it you said? Yeah, especially this, when there's so much silence around it, that it was for you. Of course, the signal the kid picks up is that this is something dirty. It needs to be avoided and hidden away. That you're going to internalize that then. So that must have been very tough. But can you tell us about, like, because I think we can imagine, but tell us about some of the toughest situations for you when you were little with this.
Yes, absolutely. I have a lot of tough situations that I remember, but I also know that it's so much that I have forget about, because one family friend to me, that is she was in the same school as me when I was from 7th grade to ninth grade, like 13 to 15.
Yeah.
And she was wrote to me the other day now that she remembered when I was fighting with another kid and have a verbal fight. So it wasn't
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
but then she realized, or she remembered that she noticed that I had so hard with my speech and I couldn't speak, and the person that I was arguing with the person laughed at me. So that is something that I have totally forget about. So I realized that a lot of trauma situations has been forgot about.
Of course,
But
suppressed.
yeah, exactly. But absolutely, I remember so many times when I was in school and it was like a verbal presentation, and I was so anxious about it, and it was so many times when I stood in front of the class and couldn't say anything, and the teacher doesn't help me with nothing. So that is really sad. And just every time that I have been trying to speak, because I love to be in the center of attention. I love to speak. I love to meet new people. I'm very curious and so on. And it has just held me back because of my stutter. And every time that I have been in a social situation and didn't speak, it's so much trauma
Of course.
around that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what I think about a lot with you is that it's a blessing and a curse in a sense, because for you it's so literal that you're actually being physically stopped from speaking the way you want to sometimes. But of course, a lot of people have different little insecurities and things that have made them feel as if I shouldn't speak out, I should keep myself a bit small and quiet because that's what's safe, And so, of course, you had to deal with that much more than most people. But also, in a sense, when you find out and you start working with it, it becomes more obvious, in a sense. I think that's always the blessing and the curse with a thing like that. That's you had to deal with something much tougher than many. But the contrast is that it made you aware on a level that... because I think many people, when you just talk about being in social situations and having a hard time expressing yourself the way you want to, I think a lot of people can relate to it. It's just that they haven't been physically stopped from doing it in a way you talk about. But okay, I want to get to more something I'm interested in often is the shift. Because I see it as with many people that have struggled with something, whatever it is, there comes a turning point, And so with you, of course, I know you've just the last however many years just talked and worked more directly with this. So I guess I wonder a bit when did you decide more that I'm gonna actually try to do something about that? And also I know from it's somewhat recent where it feels like you really made a big leap forward with all of this. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So I mentioned that until I was 25, I just struggled a lot and just did everything I could to hide my stutter and so on. But when I was 25, I was going to make a call to a work that I actually would have been had. What do you say? Jag skulle få jobbet.
Okay, she was getting the job.
Yeah, exactly.
You're called to accept the job.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was if I just had to make the call to get a job, to get that job. But when I called and the person answered, I couldn't say a word, and I just hang up. And then I just realized that okay, I can't go on like this anymore because it's enough now. It's really a verbal disability, and I'm so tired of being controlled by my stutter. So then I actually reached out to a speech therapist by myself for the first time, and she was so amazing because she really saw me and she talked with me about my emotions around the stuttering for the first time in my life. And I think it was the first time I even spoke to a person about my stutter like that,
openly
that. Exactly. And someone actually asked me how are you feeling with your stutter? So that was the first like big shift for me. But then I felt like those speaking techniques that I was learning with her, I couldn't like apply it to myself. So I felt that I need to do something more. And then I found out about this McGuire program. Yeah, and it's like an alternative,
Sure.
alternative speaking technique. And so I was actually I decided to be a member of that program. And I just want to add now that I feel that I'm really like stressed away with my speech, and
take it easy.
I really have to allow myself to take it easy, because it's a very important thing to mention as well, because I have always done everything to hide my stutter by talking really fast, and that just make it even worse. But my old habits, it's so strong, so it's really hard to just dare to allow myself to talk with my new speaking technique that actually McGuire gave me. So
it takes more conscious effort, of course, because like 25 years or a lifetime of stuttering and trying to hide it, that's the autopilot, of course. So if something throws you off, of course.
Exactly. So I went or I decided to be a member of that McGuire program, which is like an organization that has member worldwide, and everyone is stuttering. So when I entered my first course, it was the first time when I was meeting other people that have a stutter as well, and was aiming for the same goal as me. So it was really fantastic.
Of course.
And we work a lot of the physical things with stutter, like I have this belt, pause, breathe, speak, release, and it's the basic cycle of speaking from the McGuire program. So this belt actually helped me to remind myself that I'm breathing in the right way, as well as I really, I'm really go against my ego by wearing it.
You bring attention to it instead of hiding it away. Yeah.
So it's really nice, and I work with costal breathing, which is breathing with the costal part of the diaphragm. So it's really helped me to bring a lot of cancellation, air in my lungs, and I get so much more power in my speech. So it's one thing from the technique that you need to really allow yourself to talk with more power in your voice and have a deep and breathly tone, because when I'm talking fast, I forget to breathe, and it's just like it's not helping me at all. So when I dare to talk like this, it helps me so much. But it's really hard, because I've always done everything to hide my stutter, and now I'm going to do the opposite. And it's also much about using deliberate disfluency. Like if I'm going to say my name and have a block on that, like I do a cancellation and I say da. Diana or Ziana. Yeah, and it really helps me. So
I told you, I find something, I don't know what word to use, but something to me is with this thing, it's like, it's relaxing somehow, actually.
Thank you. And it's very relaxing for me as well, because when I'm talking this way, I can really be myself. I can live my truth. I can say what I want in my own time, because I will never be a fluent speaker, so I won't be able to speak fluently. But it's not my it's not my goal. My goal is to use my speaking technique and do what I have to do to live my truth. And if that is to just speak like this and take it slowly, it's so much worth it. And one thing as well is to resist time pressure. It's a very big thing, and I'm a person that love to talk fast because I have so much to say.
Yeah.
But so it's a practice too to just resist time pressure and actually exaggerate that as well by just talking very slowly, so it feels like, oh my God, now I just want to scream out the word.
Yeah.
So it's a practice, and then it's this emotional accepting parts as well with the McGuire program, that we're going to accept ourselves as a person that working hard to overcome stuttering, not like quit stutter, but overcome it.
Work with it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that that speaking technique really helped me to. It was like a key to it was one key to the journey that I
reaching the next level.
exactly next level on my journey. And but then it was like when I did a McGuire course, it was so easy to use my speaking technique and talk like I was really like good at speaking with my technique and have the control and everything. And when I came home from a course, it was like everything just I lost it. I lost my discipline, and I went into these old habits with my daily life. You know, everything goes so fast, and you're going to like talk so fast with people, blah blah blah. And yeah, so it has been a really struggle for me to really dare to allow myself to use my technique in my daily life. But then in 2024, in like January, I started to work with soul work.
Yeah.
And it's
I guess that's when I feel like the big shift.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely, it was the big shift, and that was the next key to next level, so to say, and for reaching freedom, I would say. And it was when, or I actually bought a soul work book in 2022, but I wasn't ready to read it then, so I just put it away.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, in January 2024, I saw the book again and was like, okay, now I'm ready. So I started to read it, and I couldn't stop, and it was like every word just was speaking to me. And I started to do yoga, meditation, Pilates, that things that I would never thought that I would be interesting about, because I'm a really like an energetic person, and I want to work out, you know, like it's going to be like a really
fast,
tough,
intense.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it was so nice. So it's where my like next level started, and I'm so happy that I found that book and started to read it, because it has helped me so much. And I have always dreamt of starting an account on Instagram or something to just talk about my stutter and share my journey and help others, because no one has never understand how hard it is to stutter, and it has really been a hell, actually.
Of course.
And I have never been able to allow myself to live my truth, because I have thought that my stuttering is too strong and I can't do it. So it's so nice to finally get the chance to speak my truth and just being honest about how it is to live with stutter. And it was a little bit fun, because I was actually talking with you about starting an account, but I was thinking about that it was like a good idea to do it from my account, like my cancellation. Yeah, it's when I get this, you know, like you just want to say something fast, so I forget. Yeah,
it's good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I was thinking that I was going to start this journey on Instagram from my now I'm going to say it, my private account. Yeah, exactly. So but then you were telling me that it would be smart if I created like a whole new account just for my stutter. And so I did. And I started forever stuttering. So I'm very happy for that. And thank you for a very good advice.
No, of course. No, it was. I want to relate to some things you said earlier, but yeah, that was. I could tell that Diana had you had just completely different like glow and energy when we were talking about everything, and I felt like you wanted to do something, you know. And I don't remember exactly what we said before. I said just like, well, do what I did. Just start an Instagram account about this, where you kind of explore it before you know exactly like this is the format I want to post it. Just share whatever you're doing there, and you'll find out. And it's been great to follow since then.
Okay.
But I just wanted to relate to this again. Like you talked about the stutter and how it's been you've been held back by it, and this that you said about like. You're gonna have it, so it's not about like removing it or denying it. It's more about accepting it and working with it. And again, I just want to bring attention to that. I think a lot of people have things like this, but they aren't as big and obvious for them. Because it's something, when Diana started talking about all of this, I could relate quite a bit, because I don't know how much it's gonna come through on the camera, but I have a slight tremor that's heritable. I always tremble a little bit. It's also in the voice, and so my baseline, it's okay, it's just a slight tremor, but I used to get extremely nervous for specifically speech situations where I'm like the center of attention. I'm going to have a presentation of some kind, something like that, and we're not focusing on me, because I figured out kind of where my stuff comes from a lot, because I didn't have as big of a physical part at all, but I had something that made it like a little... Just my effects from being nervous, where I would shake like this. I recognize so many things, because I knew too that, okay, I need to speak slowly, or like this, you know. And it's so many people end up doing things too fast and wanting to rush through it and that. And so what I think is cool, because obviously you care about other people that stutter specifically, because that's been something huge for you, and you would love to guide these people. But to me, it's very inspirational to see you, like, even apart from that thing, if you see what I mean. Just a person working with their things and being open about it, because I honestly think so many people, if they listen closely and understood, like, they don't need to have a stutter to be able to take a lot from your content and what you do there, if you see what I mean. But I wanted to go back to the McGuire, because you talk about the breathing techniques and such, but you do some other things that I think are very interesting when you like go out in the city and you're supposed to like go up to people and talk about stuttering and that. So tell us a little bit about that kind of exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a very scary thing for a person who stutters to go out in the city to speak with people you don't know about your stutter. But it's exactly what you need to do with because stutter is a or speaking for me can be such a big phobia, and special when I talk to people I don't know, when I'm going to say my name or something, when I know that some kind of situation like that will come up for me in my daily life. It's so hard. So it's like whatever phobia you have, you need to like
face it.
Yeah, exactly, face it. So on every McGuire course, we go out in the city for 2 days, like, and we're going to talk with at least 100 people that we don't know every day, or yes, for these 2 days. So it's like 200 people that you're going to talk about, talking with about your stutter. So yeah, we're going out in the city and say like, excuse me, can I just say something? And yeah, and then I say like, yeah, I'm here in the city because I have a stutter, and today we're working with speaking with people we don't know to expand our comfort zone and spread awareness about stutter and so on. And actually, I also used to, or I'm often asked if I can say my name, because it's hard when you have a stutter, because it's like it's your name. You can't like say another name or something. So
And
it's a very like I have so much bad memories from
I
saying
guess there
my
are many
name.
situations too. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Like and then people expecting you to say your name like immediately. So it's a very like phobia for me. So then I say, yeah, can I say my name? And then I say my name. So it's very, it's so amazing actually, because almost every people that you talk to, they are just so happy that I choose to talk with them and share my story and so on. So it's amazing as well to see how kind people are, because when I'm out in the city, just in my daily life, and going to speak with someone, and I think that okay, I hope I don't want, or I hope I won't stutter now, and it's a really stressful feeling. So just being honest, and as well show the people that you talk to when you're taking contacts, as we call it, and show them that I'm working on my speaking technique, and this is the way I'm practiced to speak. So I'm really showing the people that, because when I'm in a good like period in life, I can almost speak fluently, but then it's so important for me to really exaggerate my technique. So I being proactive in my like technique.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly as or you can relate it to the sport of speaking. Like it's when if you want to be a tennis pro, you need to practice every day. And it's the same with my speaking technique. If I don't practice every day, how will I like have how can I then use my technique in stressful situation, for example?
You make me think, it's kind of funny actually. Yesterday I was talking to someone I work with, like not a client, but well, she asked me like, oh, but do you meditate? And I said like, well, I've done quite a bit of meditation, but my issue is that at times I don't feel like I need it, because I'm sort of in a meditative state all the time. Like I'm quite centered, so I feel like, why should I meditate now? I'm pretty much meditating already, you know. But what I realize is like it's not for right now. It's for later, when I'm not as centered again, when life has overwhelmed me and made me stressed a bit. That's when I'd be like, oh shit, I should have meditated more before this, you know. So of course it's the same for you, that because it's so easy that, oh, I don't need to practice the technique now. See, everything is going fine now. Then life comes at you, and suddenly you're there and you haven't practiced for when you would actually need it, right?
Exactly. And when you're at a course, it's like 4 days course, from like 7 in the morning to 10 in the evening. So it's really like long days that you practice all the time, and you expanding your comfort zone. And when you come home from a course, you are really strong, and you feel like you can do whatever you want, or you can say whatever you want in every situation. So, but then it's so important to remember to actually exaggerate the
Maintain
technique.
that.
Yeah, even more, because it will come. You will come to that point when it's a stressful situation, and if you haven't been proactive, then it will not work.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I think, because obviously anyone that knows me and what I'm about, obviously I think that's an awesome thing to do. Like if literal speech is what you struggle with, to like go out and speak and expose it completely, to talk about it, that's to me that's just like that's great, you know. But again, the funny thing is that how many people that don't stutter could have great use for doing something like that. Like just ask any person, like can you go out and talk to 100 people and say like, hey, you know, I feel a bit awkward socially, and I just, yeah, well, I want to overcome that, so I decided to just go up to 100 people today and talk to them. So many people would not dare to do that, you know, and so many people could have use for something like that. I'll tell you, I do something similar that for me, of course, again, with actually getting like nervous and getting some effect, there was quite specific situations, but I've always felt though that, you know, I'm an extroverted, outgoing person. I'd like to just talk more to people, not just like when I meet a friend to see them, but just in general, you know. But I felt a little like awkward around that. Just, I don't know, start just striking up a conversation with someone in a store or whatever. But I've gone out of my way to do that. And one thing is that when I'm feeling great and inspired and very confident in myself, then it comes very naturally to just be like in the grocery store to the cashier or whatever, like, oh, how are you doing? Just joke a little or something. But I made it a thing that even when I don't feel like that, I'm at least gonna like say something a bit more than the typical person. The point is that I feel a lot of people, I think they're held back by their patterns and stuff. It's just that it's not gone so deep for most people, and it hasn't been this like completely consuming thing. But that's what I think is cool. Like honestly, things I do, but things like that you do, a lot of people that don't have the same problem, they would need to do the thing also, really.
Exactly. I think that everyone should do something like this to expand their comfort zones in different ways. But for me, it's really helpful, and I think that with my disability, as I want to call it, actually, because
Sure.
I think that it is a really like verbal disability.
Yeah.
Disability.
It seems tough.
Verbal disability, because it like stops me from doing what I want in my daily life and so on. So it's very important for me to do this, and like in this kind of situations when I'm sit with you, I'm very comfortable, but even though I can have a hard time with my speech, and it's not because I'm nervous or something like that, it's because my old habits are so damn strong, so they just tells me to you need to talk fast, talk fast now. So yeah, it's in these situations when I'm with my family, friends, I can struggle a lot as well. So I really need to just allow myself to be calm and take my take my time and remind myself when I'm doing what I need to do, I can really live my true self.
Yeah, you know, I think about a thing like this, the stuttering, that it's obviously like purely like physical component. Like let's play with the idea that you're the most healed and secure person ever. You'd still have some stuttering, because it's not just like, oh, a psychological, like, I don't know, thing like that, right? So to me, that's the thing, you know, that, and the way you express it even, it's like, it's not something that's supposed to like go away. Like, it's more like you tame the thing, you know. And so I think that's the thing, right? That even when you work on yourself and you feel more calm and secure, it's still something that's like kind of, I call the body like your vehicle, right? That there's like a way your vehicle operates, you know. So yeah, and I've been, of course, and I'm sure we're going to get more into that at some point, but I'm so curious how you would, because of course you do a lot of, you live a healthy lifestyle, like you exercise and you do your yoga, I know, diet and everything, it's like good, but I'm quite curious how you would respond to some of the things I'm more into, you know, like even fasting. I'm so interested, because you know it's a complete.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a complete shift in the entire body, right? So it's just, I'm not saying that like I know what would happen. We're just like, if you don't eat for 3 days, what would happen with the stuttering? I'm curious, you know. Or if you started strength training more and strengthened your nervous system, I'm like, would there be less impulses to stutter possibly? You know, because my knowledge of these things, it's quite intuitive. I'm not an expert at stuttering, like what it actually physiologically is at all. But I've seen enough patterns with people, what things seem to do something about something. So to me, I know I've said that to you, to me it's like putting yourself in the best physical position to just have to deal with as little as possible. And then after that, it's both the technique work, but also like the like inner work, like feeling secure, reminding yourself to be calm and pausing, stopping and choosing to respond to the situation instead of reacting, right? So it's kind of there are different angles you can work on something like this.
Absolutely, and we have talked about this a lot of times before as well. So I'm very curious as well, and I'm very eager to try to fast and fasting.
Yeah.
Fasting, yeah, and then as well, everything you are recommend, because it's very like interesting to just try and see.
100%. So yeah, well, let's, because I think we're coming towards an end, but like what would you like want people to know about stuttering? What would you like to take the opportunity to inform people about? Like anything you can think of. How would you want to be approached by someone that doesn't know much about it? Things like that.
Absolutely, very good question, and I would say that the most important thing is to, if you talk with someone who have a stutter, that you let the person say what they want to say, and not like
Help.
No, exactly, help. And I know it's hard to know what to do, especially if you see that the person that you talk to is really struggling. And but it's just to think of how you want to be approached.
Yeah.
About from, or approach with the from, what do you say, approached by
in
the
general,
person that exactly.
What would you want when you're speaking?
Exactly, and to the same to the person that have a stutter. So it's the first thing, but then I think it's important too for my for me to really inform people that I have a stutter, because if my stutter is really severe, I often go into this panic survival mode, and then the person that I talk to, they are just like, okay,
what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's very important to just inform them for your own sake, that okay, I have a stutter and today is really hard, so I really just need to slow down my speech and so on. So nothing more than that, but yeah. So I think that is the most. Then something that people think sometime about stuttering is that the person is very nervous, but
not necessarily.
No, exactly, and
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, because the person who stutters cancellation. The person who stutters know how it was the last time. So, but like now, when I'm stuttering now, I'm not nervous. I'm just, it's so deep-rooted in my...
nervous system,
yeah,
really.
exactly. And in my body to just like respond to stuttering, like poof, like just push through and just keep going.
Yeah, yeah, but what I meant is kind of like that's what I meant, that there's this like purely physical component that even when you're the most calm and secure you can be, you could stutter, but obviously getting nervous, getting stressed is something that could make it worse, you know.
Yes, of course, of course.
Yeah, but what I wanted to get at again is like that it comes back to that kind of like, how would you want to be approached when you talk? Do you want to be interrupted? Do you want people to fill in your sentences? Like no, it's like well, and that.
Exactly.
But what I think about often, well, I think about so many things often, but with a thing like this, of course, it always takes two to tango a little bit, because obviously the person that never encountered this before, they don't know exactly what to do, but they could also ask, like, hey, I noticed that there's something up with your speech. You know, you can just ask. And I think that's the issue. We're afraid of asking things and just being like curious, like, you know, I'm just asking what's up there, you know, just like you don't have to make the biggest deal out of it. You just like feel comfortable. I just want to explain what's going on here, kind of, you know, because what I start thinking about is, for me, when I feel a certain way, when I feel like kind of shut down and withdrawn in a sense, I can be okay to be around people, but I can feel this pressure that it's gonna be so obvious that I'm like, like this, you know, and I don't want to feel like I'm dragging them down and stuff, and so I can feel like I don't even want to go there, you know. But if I can just be open that, hey, you know, it's okay, but I'm just like kind of heavy right now. I don't feel like speaking so much. If I just get to say that, I notice that I can relax, and I'm going to be a bit more quiet, but now I actually feel comfortable in the situation. While if I feel like I have to keep this facade up that I'm actually fine, you know, it's like if people could just be a little curious and a little open, really.
Absolutely, and it's always like it's always so, or cancellation. I'm thinking so much about what other people will think about me, and I think that everyone do that for themselves.
They do.
So it's the problem here, because if I just was going to focusing on my needs, what I needed, instead of pleasing others, it's like it would be so much easier for me. But every time I have a stutter, like now, I get so stressed that now I'm feeling that I'm going to stutter, instead of like
I'm making them uncomfortable.
Exactly. Instead of like cancellation and cancel and take it all over again, I just hope that I can say it soon. So it's done. So, it's really weird, but strange.
You know, I actually recorded a video today where I talked about the difference between secure and insecure people, and you would think that the difference is obvious, but the difference is really that secure people are open about their insecurities and own them, while insecure people try to pretend as if there's nothing going on. And you know, the funny paradox there is that when you try to pretend that everything is fine, that's when it's the most obvious that it's absolutely not fine. While if a person is just like, hey, this if it was you, for instance, like, hey, this, I'm kind of stressed now, so I just feel like I'm stuttering a lot or something, like it kind of stresses me out or whatever. If you just say that and let it out, like if the other person felt any sort of discomfort with this, they're gonna be like, okay, I get it, and everything is like cool now. So I think that's a funny paradox, that many times when we go against this thing that we feel needs to be hidden away, like when it comes out in the open, it's like not a big deal at all. In fact, that what's being open about it is what made it be not a big deal. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's so true. And as well, if I can notice it so well when I'm being honest about my stutter and open up to someone, the person who is like very secure, the person will respond like, okay, wow, thank you for sharing.
Yes.
But the person that is insecure will like, okay,
exactly.
yeah. So it's really clear who is. Like,
Yeah, that's another good point. I didn't think about that now, but yes, it's only insecure people can be like put off by like a authentic, vulnerable
exactly.
behavior like that. So yeah, because I actually took you as an example in this video because
thank you.
yeah, no, but that, you know, of course we can describe it as you have some insecurities around speech still.
Absolutely.
But nowadays, because you're so open about it and talk about it and put yourself out there, like the overall impression is of a secure person that has some insecurities more than like you're just an insecure person like that. So yeah, I think I want to round it off. I have some closing words I want to say, but I just want to ask if there's, of course, you're going to tell us where we can find you and everything, but is there anything else you wanted to bring up or talk about now?
I think that we have talked about the most important stuff, but I just want to say that I'm so happy that you and me have like dared to follow our dreams, and that we can follow each other on our like journeys. So it's
100%.
really amazing because we have been seeing each other growing up and so on. So it's very nice to just following you.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's kind of funny because, like I said, we were very close when we were little. Then as, like, we'd never been, like, on bad terms. But I would say that as younger adults than now, maybe we weren't as close. And maybe you didn't quite get what I was about. And I mean, I guess I got some about the stuttering and that, but just you weren't talking about as much about it and that. So without us ever having been on like bad terms, it's kind of cool to have this like tight childhood. Then you're adults, you go off and do your little things, and now we kind of found our way back here. No, I'll say that, and I've said that in videos before, that I'm extremely proud of you for what you do.
Thank you.
Because thanks. But like I keep saying, that the things you're doing are really things that would be difficult for a person that doesn't stutter. So even more so to have like the speech problem and then really put yourself out there and speak about it, and that it's extremely brave. And I've been moved many times when I see your things, and you know, there was one moment I think you were standing somewhere here, and it was just this. I could just see on you when you're at that moment where it's like, shit, I'm really like doing all of this that felt so impossible for so long, and I'm finally here. I'm finally allowing myself. I'm finally, you know, because I can relate to that feeling so much, you know. And again, I think that's the contrast of having gone through struggle and a traumatic childhood. That you get to experience this contrast, because I get the same thing. Every once in a while I will remember how badly I used to feel and how many problems I used to have that I really just don't anymore. So you're very inspirational to a lot of people, but definitely to me as well. And we can, so Forever Stuttering, Forever Stuttering, that's on Instagram, and that's the only place right now, or?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually going to start a podcast as well soon. So
see, again, something that a lot of people would be scared to do.
Yeah.
Really cool. But yeah, please go and give Diana a follow on @Forever Stuttering. Like I say, even if you don't stutter, that's not your thing. If any theme on this podcast felt like spoke to you or you can relate to it, you'll be able to relate to a lot in her content there.
Thank you.
And I'll be happy to come on your podcast at some point.
Absolutely.
That would be interesting. I wonder what you will ask me.
Yes. Absolutely.
No, well, thanks a lot for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And see you next time, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.